picture this. It's dusk at a waterhole in South Africa. An elephant lowers her trunk to drink. A leopard slips through the grass. A herd of impalas stands tense, watching the tree line, because somewhere out there, a lion is calling. And yet, the lion's roar barely makes them flinch. Now listen to this instead. Calm human voice, just talking, no shouting, no gunshot, just talking. The elephants bolt, the rhinos scatter, the entire waterhole empties in seconds, faster and more completely than it ever did for the lion. Scientists have a name for what just happened. They call it the landscape of fear. And at the top of it, above every lion, wolf, and bear on Earth, sits one species. This is the story of why wild animals are more afraid of humans than of anything else alive, and what that fear is quietly doing to the entire planet. Let's start with something that sounds almost backwards. Humans are slow. We have no claws, no fangs, no fur thick enough to stop a bite. On paper, we're one of the weakest predators in the animal kingdom. So why does nearly every wild animal on Earth treat us like the most dangerous thing they've ever encountered? Here's the answer, and it's not about strength. It's about who we choose to kill. A lion hunts the old, the young, the sick, the slow, the easy targets. That's how predators have always worked. It keeps prey populations balanced generation after generation. Humans do the opposite. We target the strongest, the healthiest, the biggest antlers, the largest tusks, the prime breeding adults, the very individuals a population depends on to reproduce. Researchers have actually measured this. Humans harvest healthy adult prey at rates many times higher than natural predators ever do. Some studies put it as high as 14 times higher in the ocean and 9 times higher on land. Now here's the problem that creates. When you remove a population's strongest, boldest individuals generation after generation, evolution starts rewriting the rulebook. The bold ones get taken. The cautious, hypervigilant ones survive and breed. Over time, entire species become hardwired to fear us, some through instinct passed down over hundreds of thousands of years, others by simply learning it in a single lifetime and passing that knowledge on. Crows can literally recognize a human face that once trapped them, and teach their chicks, who've never even met that person, to fear it too. So what does this mean? It means humans haven't just become a predator. We've become a selective pressure, one powerful enough to reshape the biology of entire species, faster than almost anything else in nature. But here's a question worth asking. How does a zebra from 200 meters away know a shape in the grass is human, and not just another animal passing by? The answer is that we broadcast ourselves without even realizing it. Start with how we look. We walk upright on 2 legs, and that silhouette is almost unique among large land animals. Eye tracking studies show that this upright shape instantly grabs an animal's attention, in a way 4-legged shapes simply don't. Add to that the way we move. A steady, direct walk straight toward an animal reads exactly like a predator's charge, and animals will flee from far greater distances than if we're just wandering past at an angle. Then there's the sound. In dense bush or thick forest, animals often can't see anything at all, so they listen. And playback experiments have shown something remarkable. Even a completely calm, conversational human voice, no shouting, no threat in the tone at all, triggers immediate, dramatic panic. Animals can tell the difference between our voice and a native predator's growl, and they consistently treat ours as more dangerous. And finally, scent. Long before an animal sees or hears us, it may already smell us. Our sweat, our breath, even our stress hormones drift on the wind, and a deer's or a bear's nose can pick that signature up from remarkable distances. That scent goes straight to the brain's fear centers, triggering a stress response before we've even come into view. Sight, sound, smell, 3 separate alarm systems, all trained on one species. Now here's where the story gets genuinely astonishing. We're not just a predator animals fear. Across ecosystem after ecosystem, we outrank the ones they already feared the most. Take that opening scene, the Kruger National Park waterhole. Researchers there ran an experiment. Hidden speakers played either a calm human voice or an actual lion's roar. The result? Nearly every species studied, elephants, rhinos, giraffes, even leopards, fled faster and more completely from the human voice than from the roar of the animal known as the king of beasts. Now the question is, surely that's just Africa, where lions and humans have coexisted forever. So scientists tested Australia, a continent with no native lions, no wolves, nothing close to a large predator of humans. They played recordings of calm human voices to kangaroos and wallabies, alongside the sounds of dogs, and even snarling Tasmanian devils. The marsupials were more than twice as likely to flee from the human voice than from any predator they'd actually evolved alongside. Then there's the mountain lion. In California, researchers waited at fresh puma kills and, when the cat returned to feed, played a recording of a human simply talking. In 8 out of every 10 trials, the puma fled instantly, abandoning its own kill, and its feeding time dropped by more than half. And it's not a one-time scare. Wolves in protected European forests, legally shielded from hunting for generations, still shift almost all of their activity to the middle of the night, purely to avoid the chance of crossing paths with a human during the day. So what does this mean? It means the fear of humans isn't limited to places we actively hunt. It's become embedded psychologically, and in some cases genetically, across nearly the entire animal kingdom. But here's the problem: this fear isn't free. It comes at a real, measurable cost. Every time an animal flees, it burns energy it could have spent eating, resting, or raising young. Scientists call this the landscape of fear, an invisible map layered over the physical world, where some areas feel deadly safe and others feel deadly dangerous, purely based on how likely a human is to show up. Female pumas living near people have to kill significantly more deer each year, simply to make up for all the meals they abandon out of fear. Deer and elk across entire mountain ranges have shifted to being active almost exclusively at night, just to dodge daytime hikers. And this stress isn't just behavioral, it's physical. When an animal detects a human threat, its brain triggers a flood of stress hormones, preparing the body to run. In small doses, that's healthy. But when the stress becomes constant, trails, tourists, traffic, day after day, it can tip into what scientists call allostatic overload. Chronic stress that stunts growth, weakens immunity, and lowers reproduction. In other words, we don't have to fire a single shot to reshape an ecosystem. Our mere presence, our voice, our silhouette, our scent on the breeze, is often enough. But here's the twist. This fear isn't universal, and where it's missing, the results can be dramatic. On isolated islands where predators never existed, animals like the Galapagos marine iguana never evolved a fear of large mammals at all. Approach one and it may simply sit there, curious, at a distance a mainland lizard would never allow. It's called island tameness, and historically, it's made these species catastrophically easy for hunters and introduced predators to wipe out. Meanwhile, in cities, the opposite process is happening. Urban birds and squirrels, exposed to harmless humans every single day, gradually stop reacting altogether, sometimes approaching us directly for food. So what does this mean? Fear of humans isn't some fixed, universal instinct. It's something animals learn or fail to learn, and depending on where a species lives, that can mean the difference between long-term survival and sudden collapse. So here's the takeaway. We like to think of ourselves as separate from nature, bystanders watching from the outside. But to nearly every wild animal on this planet, we're not bystanders at all. We're the single most feared predator alive. More frightening than a lion's roar, more frightening than a wolf pack, more frightening than anything they evolved alongside. And that fear is quietly reshaping migrations, feeding habits, even the genetics of entire species, whether we ever mean for it to or not. But here's the problem. That same fear response doesn't always protect wildlife. Sometimes it fails completely.